Another big weekend of boxing in store. Let's go back to Manchester now, where Anthony Crolla and Scott Quigg are preparing to weigh in ahead of their respective fights tomorrow night. And we can join Fraser Dainton. Good afternoon, Fraser.
Yeah, very good afternoon from Cathedral Gardens in Manchester. A real buzz about the place, a big crowd here in the city centre, and two world titles on the line. Scott Quigg defending one, Anthony Crolla challenging for one. The weigh-ins are about to start. I'm joined as usual by Glenn McCrory and Johnny Nelson, but without further ado, let's go to our MC for the afternoon, the world famous Michael Buffer.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Manchester. Well, right now it's a little mild and cool, but tomorrow night it will be red hot and electric as we have a great night of boxing brought to you by Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. And the first contest, the first co-feature, will be presented in association with Gary Shaw Productions, and it's all sponsored by Grosvenor Casino, StubHub, and JD Sports. Let's get started with the co-feature of the evening. First up to the scales, ladies and gentlemen, this contest will be for 12 rounds of boxing, and it's for the lightweight championship of the world sanctioned by the WBA. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage and to the scales the fighting pride of Manchester, 29 victories, 11 wins by KO. He's the WBO Intercontinental Lightweight Champion, Anthony $1 Million Crolla.
What a story this would be if Anthony Crolla were to take the world title. We had worries.
And please
that,
welcome
just
to the stage. He
Christmas,
comes to us from
he might
San
not even
Pedro
fight
de
again
Orvalla,
after he chased a couple of
Colombia,
burglars away from his neighbour's home.
20 wins by
and he
knockout.
ended up breaking
Only
his ankle.
one
He got his
defeat.
skull
The
broken.
reigning
He
and
was in
defending
one heck of a mess. It
WBA
looked as
lightweight
though
world
his world
champion,
title
Perez.
About to challenge this Colombian who holds the world title at the moment. This is going to be a very, very tough fight, though, Glenn. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, he's already shown how tough he is, hasn't he, as a man. Fantastic ever to get himself back to this place. People never thought he'd do it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
so it really
he is the fighting pride of Manchester, England.
Well, he looks in fantastic shape. Let's hope that the crowd doesn't affect him too much. 135 pounds. Let's see what the announcement is for the weight. He's clearly made it. And by the looks of things, he means business.
9 stone, 8 pounds, 8 ounces.
9 stone, 8. He is right on the limit there, Johnny.
That's his game face. You know what?
The reigning and defending WBA lightweight world champion.
And he's got a tough ass with this man getting on the scales now.
32 victories, 20 KOs, only 1 defeat. Carlos Perez!
The current WBA lightweight title holder coming into this fight. 31 years of age, 32 wins with 20 of those coming by way
9 stone, 8 pounds, 8 ounces for the reigning and defending champion.
We have a world title fight.
We have a good world title here in Manchester tomorrow night.
Anthony Crolla, Carlos Perez is a terrific fighter. He's only been beaten on one occasion by the excellent.
A round of applause for both fighters, ladies and gentlemen. Here they are, challenger and champion.
Huge amount of support here for
The action
Anthony
will be
Crolla.
live on
The belt
Sky
is shown up.
Sports.
That's what is up for grabs. The belt is one thing, but the title, of course, is what matters. And Anthony Crolla's fans now in great voice are wanting to make sure that Carlos Perez is well aware that he's walking into the Lion's Den on Saturday night.
Crolla a little tall of the two. Look at Perez's arms there a little bit longer. He'll probably try and outbox and be a bit smarter, but out-tough him as well. So Crolla now has got it all to do. He's got to be a light of foot, he's got to be sharp of mind, and he's also going to make sure he puts everything he's practicing in the gym.
Nice to see, very respectful between the pair of them as they shake hands before they come over and get the head-to-head going. So it's nice to see the two of them have got a lot of respect for each other. It'll be a different story, of course, when they get into the ring. But Crolla's got his game face on. He looks excited. But at the same time, he looks like he's in good control as well.
He looks like he's in good condition. This is something that he probably at one stage 6 months ago never thought would ever happen. He's now got the chance to fight for the world title. It's a lifelong dream. It's all or nothing. He's got to give it everything he's got, and he'll have prepared meticulously. But he is stepping up to a different level altogether with Carlos Perez, who is
operated at a higher class.
Just how tough is it, Johnny, when a fighter goes through that? You're bubbling up there, knocking on the door, and then all of a sudden that door opens and you are in there with the big boys.
It can work two ways. One, some guys, when they're at home, they've got to operate on home turf. They crumble. Some guys rise to the challenge, and for this man here, he's going to rise to the challenge. You can see how he smiled on his face when he got the scales.
Let's get him on. Let's get him on. We're live on Sky Sports News. Good to see you. We waited just in under the limit there. You had your game face on. How are you feeling?
Yeah, no, I'm in the zone now. First of all, the turnout from all these lot. Can't thank them enough. And this city gets behind me each and every time. I'm going to win this world title for them on Saturday.
Is there any danger of you reacting too emotionally, perhaps? Because
no
obviously
way.
we know everything that's gone on beforehand. You were knocking on the door. You
Yeah.
had that incident before Christmas. Now you've got to really take this with both hands. You've got to keep your head on that.
Yeah, I've got to keep a cool head. And like you say, it's a great time today. So, but tomorrow night I'll have a cool head on me. And I've worked too hard not to let it, to let it slip. Can't wait.
This is everything you've dreamed of, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be there as a world title
Everything
challenger.
I've dreamed of since being a little boy, and I've got a chance to make a dream come true, and I'm going to do that tomorrow night.
And just how tough is it going to be against Darlis
Yeah.
Perez? Because we know he's a big puncher, we know what he's capable of. He's coming here as the champion.
Yeah, he's a fantastic fighter. I'm going in there an underdog, but that's not new to me, and I've got my career best performances when being an underdog, and I'm confident I can do that again Saturday night.
10 years ago here at Manchester, Ricky Hatton went in as the underdog against Costa Zoo. Can you repeat that sort of history on Saturday night?
I really believe I can. It'll be tough times in there, but I really believe I'll come through and I'll be world champion.
We wish you the best of luck, Anthony. Thanks very much for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So, Anthony, just saying thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Anthony Crolla there looks well, he didn't have a lot to say, to be fair, but he is one of the nicest guys in boxing, it has to be said. But everybody in Manchester keeping their fingers crossed for him. They'll be keeping their fingers crossed as well for Scott Quigg to see whether he can retain his world title. So let's get that weigh-in up and underway, rather, and rejoin once again on the stage our MC for the afternoon, Michael Buffer.
Yeah, Fraser, thank you very much. We'll be back with them throughout the day in Manchester, where it's normally.
By Matchroom Sports. This contest will be scheduled for 12 rounds, and it's for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship of the World. This contest brought to you in association with Maravilla Sports, and once again sponsored by Grosvenor Casino, StubHub, and JD Sports. Let's welcome to the stage and then to the scales. First up will be the challenger. He's the former Super Bantamweight World Champion, La Sensación, Kiko Martinez.
Quite a few fans have come out Spain for this way in to come and watch Kiko. Martinez brings a pretty big following with him wherever he goes. We know exactly just how tough this guy is, Dominique, because we've seen him mixing it with some of the top men in this division.
Travels well, Martinez. You know he's
welcome
going to make you work for the win. Obviously, we're going to.
The reigning and defending WBA Super Bantamweight Champion, the undefeated
talking about as an
champion from Bury, Lancashire, England.
He's got to get in there and make sure
Scott Quigg.
Scott Quigg, another local lad from just up the road in Bury. This man absolutely lives in the gym. It's a rarity to see him in anything but a tracksuit. Always a big smile on his face. Another great character in the Gallagher gym, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a great guy, great young man, excellent trainer. He just completely lives for this game, and he'll be as ready as he's ever been. He'll be totally fit and ready for this, as he's going to have to be. Because Kiko Martinez is a very good fighter, and you know there will be comparisons with the Cole Frampton fight.
Just wait until you see. Just wait until you see what sort of shape Martinez is in, because I saw him at the weigh-in the other day. He looked in incredible shape. Just have a look at him now.
Former world champion La Sensación,
serious about this fight. He realizes that he has to stay in there with Scott Quigg and try and continue beating a fighter like this to stay in the mix in the world title.
He really fancies this fight.
8 stone 9 and 10 ounces.
They're very confident that they can get the title, and they're talking about the big fights that lie ahead with the other champions.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
so he really thinks he can win.
And if anybody doubts,
the reigning and defending undefeated WBA Super Bantamweight Champion of the World.
Let's see the reception now.
30-0, 2 draws, 22 wins by knockout. The Fighting Pride of Bury, Lancashire, England. The reigning and defending undefeated champion, Scott Quigg.
receptions to Scott Quigg. 8 stone 10, the limit for super bantamweight. 122 pounds.
8 stone 9 and 12 ounces for the reigning and defending
just
champion.
inside.
Scott Quigg
Scott Quigg
in the ring. He doesn't want any of this nonsense. He just wants to get in and fight. That's what he lives for. The guy lives in a van. No matter how much he's doing, how much he's achieved, he lives in a van when it comes to fight night because he wants to be outside the gym, sleep, get his sleep when he wants, and be ready to get in the ring. That's why he's got a right smile on his face, because he knows the time getting
He loves to fight,
so
Sky
he's got to
Sports
be careful
tomorrow
that he
night
doesn't get drawn into a fight with a very strong Martinez. We saw Cole Fram use his boxing skills and a very tactical fight, and I'm sure Joe Gallagher has looked at the tapes and is going to do something similar. You know, he's got to keep great concentration and not get drawn in.
This is nowhere near a done deal.
Here they are, ladies and gentlemen.
They might be too upset.
The challenger, former world champion, La Sensación, Kiko Martinez.
The fact is that Scott Quigg has ambitions to try and unify the titles in the future, but everybody will be making comparisons about how Scott Quigg compares against Kiko Martinez and how Carl Frampton did it as well.
Yeah, they'll want to see him in Frampton. You know, he's on tomorrow night as well. He's got his big fight, so he'll want to impress. But you know, he wants to be the best. But this is no foregone conclusion because Martinez has come to win this fight.
And the danger is Scott Quigg looking at Frampton, concentrating at Frampton, instead of concentrating on his.
Thank you very much, challenger and champion. All the action tomorrow night live on Sky Sports.
Activities like this.
Any dangers as far as you're concerned, boys, that the name of Carl Frampton, the idea of moving on to what happens after this fight might just be in the back of Scott Quigg's head?
I don't think so. I think that fight for the time being has gone away, and I think he's got to think about the big fights that he's got out there for himself. You know, there's some excellent fighters in that division, so he's got to get his tough fight. He's got to win this.
Let's get him in, Scott. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Nicely weighed in, just in under the limit. So here we are. This is it. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. All the hard preparation's done, and now it's just I'm looking forward to it. I couldn't be any more ready. So these are the fights I wanted. These are the fights that I've come into boxing for. It's the toughest fight of my career, but it's one that I'm in the best place ever I could have been.
Absolutely no doubts about looking at the shape of Kiko Martinez. He's come to fight. He's a serious man.
100%, and I'm expecting the best Kiko Martin I've seen plus 50%. So I'm expecting one that is the best he's ever been, and that's the way I've prepared him, and I'm more than ready for him.
Just as prepared as you are physically, are you prepared mentally as well for the possibility that Martinez might really challenge you? This is going to be a real tough fight. They're going to be difficult matches for you.
I'm ready to have to dig deep every round. So if that's what needs to be done, that's what I'll do. I'm more than ready. I couldn't be any more ready. I'm the best physical, mentally shape of what. Most importantly, my boxing skill technique has improved 20-30% since my last fight. Me and Joe's been working hard, and I know however the fight's going to be, as in how hard it's be, I'm going to make it as easy as it can be.
Just what has it been like in Gallagher's gym over the last few weeks with the two of you going for world titles as well? It must have been, well, very, very serious, but at the same time, pretty good fun as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be training alongside anyone else than at the Crolla. We're both, tomorrow night, the biggest fights of our career, both headlining the MEN together. I wouldn't want to be doing it with anyone else, and the training we've done together, we've pushed each other, and we're in the best place we could be in. I know tomorrow I'm going to walk to the ring knowing I couldn't have done any more. I'm going to put in the best performance of my career.
And you will have fantastic support as well. If today is anything to go by, Saturday night should be absolutely rocking in that Manchester arena.
This is what I've come into boxing for. So this is why I train, and hopefully I know I will repay to all the fans that turn out to come and show the support, because it's been great. I'll put in the best performance of my career.
Scott, we wish you the best of luck. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thanks for joining us. Scott Quigg, defending the WBA Super Bantamweight title, looks very, very confident, doesn't he, Glenn?
He looks confident, but you know, you get that sort of confidence when you know that you've done everything possibly you can do in the gym, on the road. You've done your weight work, you've done your body work. When you are that well prepared, that's when you have that sort of confidence.
Johnny, 2 world title fights up for grabs. Pick and fights, both of them?
They are. Neither of them are a done deal. There could be, 14,000 people watching tomorrow. That will lift both of the home fighters. But Scott Quigg, that's not a done deal. He's got a tough fight in front of him. Martinez knows this is his last chance in the big-time boxing, because if he doesn't pull it off, he's out in the wilderness because he's had so many shots. For Anthony Crolla, he knows he's got to perform to the best of his ability.
Crolla has to have a career-defining performance. He has to jump a level. He has to have, you know, real inspiration. And somebody who's come through what he's come through, he's obviously got it. He's got it in the bag full. So he's just got to turn on, because that is a very tough fight.
It could be a glorious night in Manchester again. We've seen it 10 years ago. You never know.
It could be a great night, or it could be a bad night.
We have seen some great nights in Manchester over the years. Glenn, Johnny, thanks very much indeed for joining me. We have 2 world titles up for grabs. Scott Quigg defending one, Anthony Crolla challenging for one. It could be yet another glorious night of boxing here in Manchester tomorrow night.
Right, let's get more now from Manchester. Fraser Dainton is there for us.
Terrific atmosphere here in Manchester. Hundreds of people turning out to watch the weigh-ins for Scott Quigg and Anthony Crolla. I'm joined by the promoter Eddie Hearn and Sky Sports' Adam Smith. And Eddie, first of all, great atmosphere. The boys, though, on the stage look pretty relaxed, very, very confident, the pair of them.
More relaxed than us. The wind was blowing the backdrop down all over, and Michael Buffer was in a terrible state trying to keep his feet. But other than that, huge night for Manchester. I mean, we saw a great card on May the 30th. This has the same kind of feel to it. 2 50-50 world title fights, 2 50-50 British title fights, Martin Murray, and what great opportunities for Scott Quigg and of course Anthony Crolla, that fairy tale story, Cinderella story, a chance for him to become Britain's latest crop of world champions coming through.
We have got a lot of world champions at the moment. If you look at the Britain and Ireland, I think we've got about 9 at the moment. If Anthony Crolla ends up winning on Saturday night, we've got another couple in action. We could have 11 before we even know it, and the States have only got 12. British boxing's in great health at the moment.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? You know, Terry Flanagan the other day, we had a real injection when Lee Selby and James DeGale in May won British titles. I think it's a fantastic time, isn't it, for boxing? I'm just happy to be back in Manchester as well. Just over 10 years on from Hatton's Hugh. We've had so many wonderful nights here with the likes of Anthony Farnell, Michael Gomez, Hay, Calzaghe. So many great nights. Frochgrove's one, of course, too. I think Saturday night is going to be terrific here. As Eddie said, great British title fights, 2 top of the bills, world title fights. Can Anthony Crolla pull off this incredible dream from the depths of despair, the adversity that he's been through, the fans? There's a real buzz again. Manchester and British boxing absolutely flying.
You mentioned 10 years ago and Hatton versus Zoo. Hatton was seen very much as the underdog on that fight. Crolla is in a similar sort of position. Could we see a bit of history repeating it?
He's certainly an underdog, there's no doubt about it. But what I like about Anthony Crolla is he's an intelligent guy in the ring. You know, he listens to Joe Gallagher. They've got a very close relationship. Tactics-wise, they'll have it all planned out. He was terrific against John Murray. Can he step up in level against this very dangerous Darlis Perez? Only ever been defeated by Yuriorkis Gamboa, who's really, really good. So Crolla up against it, but with the crowd, with the momentum, with the fairy tales, he can do it, can't he?
Now, fingers crossed. As for Scott Quigg, we know exactly what he's about. We know exactly what Kiko Martinez is about. Those two will not have to go looking for each other on Saturday night.
It's a great fight, and the toughest fight of Scott Quigg's career by a long, long way. You know, I remember when Darren Barker won his world title, Kiko Martinez destroyed Jonathan Romero to become champion. He defended it in Spain. He travelled to Japan to defend his world title, knocking out Hasegawa. He then went to Belfast to fight Carl Frampton. He's used to travelling. He's an elite level super bantamweight, by far the toughest test of Scott Quigg's career. I'm just pleased that Scott Quigg gets a chance to show everybody just how good he is. I'm looking for a statement from him last night, but a lot of pressure. People will compare the performance to, of course, Carl Frampton's performance, and ultimately he needs to look sensational in what is really, many call a 50-50 fight, but that's a really, really dangerous fight. The styles should gel beautifully, and don't blink in that one.
We look forward to it. Gents, thanks very much indeed for joining us. 2 world titles on the line. A cracking undercard as well, with some British and Commonwealth titles up for grabs too. Should be a great night here in Manchester.